Good afternoon, mi gente. Thank you for being with us. Our team is really charged up for this noonday broadcast of our Vote-a-Thon. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, mi gente. El personal de SAC está muy emocionado para estar aquí para ustedes hoy día. Si quieren oír el programa en español, por favor, marquen el número que aparece en la pantalla, que es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contestan su llamada, van a compartir el código que también aparece en la pantalla, que es 779-328-221. Ese número también se va a compartir por medio de los comentarios. Folks, we have simultaneous interpretation always offered to our Spanish-speaking neighbors through a teleconference line, or if we're in person through some equipment that we have. And I want to thank Isabel, who's with us today, and ask her for forgiveness because I know I speak so fast and I try to slow down and then I forget. So she has all the permission in the world to summarize what I'm saying and not have to interpret word for word. Just so you know, Isabel, we appreciate you. And I'm going to try to talk a little slower. It's a little challenge for me. Anyway, my name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the executive director and the lead organizer here at SOC. We have a wonderful team working to make this possible for you today. We have on production Stacy Carlos, who's our organizer and lead in public resources. We have a former employee, Jinx, with us all the way from Chicago, joining us virtually to be backup production. And then we have Jeanette Torres, our organizer, youth program. She also is our video whiz and has helped really lead with Stacy this Vote-a-Thon production. We're very grateful for her. And we have Alexis with us. Hey, Jinx, saying hello to Jinx all the way from Chicago. And then we have Alexis, our youth organizer, with us. And you don't want to miss the 2:00 rendition of the Vote-a-Thon because the youth program will be hosting instead of me. And so really would like you to join the youth and give them encouragement and just be amazed by what they're capable of doing, which we always know and want other people to join us in that same passion. We are really committed to bringing you information and resources and ways you can engage around democracy and civic engagement. And that'll be true all today. We did a production at 8:00. Breakfast folks were with us. And County Exec David Crowley joined us, as well as the President of the Common Council, Jose Perez. And we had Eloisa Gomez, who's the founder and co-chair of the League of Women Voters, Voto Latino, at 8:00. And then at 10:00, we had the president of the League of Women Voters of Milwaukee County, Peggy Creer, on. And we're going to be sharing those interviews with you so you have the information from all the day. And then at noon here, we are going to shortly bring on State Representative Sylvia Ortiz Velez and Jonathan Zuniga from the Milwaukee Election Commission. Let me see who's with us. Folks, we can see the number of people who are with us, but we don't know who's joining us unless you say a hello in the comments. So let's see who we have. We have Izzy, our clerk, our register of deeds. Sorry, Izzy, I'm all tongue-tied today. All the way, hello, from the Puerto Vallarta airport is with us. So we appreciate what you have to do to make that happen when you're at an airport and when there's a storm outside. Thank you for being with us. Let me tell you a little bit about SOC if you're not familiar with us. I'm so honored. It's such a privilege to be serving in the capacity that I do here at SOC. It's our 33rd birthday this year, believe it or not, folks. We are the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on Milwaukee South Side. This organization was established in 1990 by neighbors just like you who got together and said, we want to make sure that our neighborhoods and our communities thrive and are safe, etc. And we are in that same soul mind today. We continue that tradition and will. Our mission is to ensure that um, every neighbor on Milwaukee South Side has a voice, a vote, and a vehicle to organize together, um, that we support their work in the community, to have a safe, a livable, and an economically vibrant community, and each of their neighborhoods. We're here for you folks. If you have dreams, needs, concerns, like connect with us. We have all kinds of ways that we can support you and work with and for you in the community. You can always reach us at 414-672-8090. And you can visit our website and you can email us soc@socmilwaukee.org. Thank you for sharing that on the screen. And everything that I share with you today, all the links will be in the comments, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. I'd like to do some promos before we bring on our guests. We really value your time and want to reward all of you and give incentives for people to take their time and dig in with us. So we have 4 raffles of $50 gift cards today. Altogether, that's $200 that you could win in a door prize for engaging with us. Here are all the easy ways you can enter the drawing. First of all, you can share this Facebook Live right now. You'll enter a drawing for the gift card. You can go to our Facebook and like it, our Instagram, or our LinkedIn. You can take a picture of you voting, or if you can't vote, of you going with someone to vote. And if you tag us, you'll be entered into those drawings. And then we have 3 other, a little more involved, but still easy things to do. One is our post-pandemic survey. We all had to face life differently during the pandemic and make choices and not have some choices. So what we would like to do is make sure that SOC is serving you these next couple of years. So we want to hear from you. What are your top priorities now? Because that's exactly what we're going to have SOC doing these next couple of years, whatever you say your top priorities are. So we have a survey. I'm going to try to share that so you get a little sneak peek and you see how absolutely simple it is. Let me grab that here. Just to convince you. That link is going to go in the comments, our post-pandemic survey. Look how easy it is. Just a little intro, your contact information, and then what are your top dreams? What are your top concerns? 1, 2, 3. And then, would you want to be part of a neighbor group? If not, that's fine too. And maybe we'll keep you abreast of things. And then all you have to do is score like a dozen topics on not important to you, somewhat important, important or very important. And that's going to help us start our process. You see that? There's like just 12 of them. If there's something that doesn't make the list that's important to you, you can add that, and you can always add other comments. And super, super easy to do. A couple of clicks and you're done. And we're going to take those surveys and compile them. And then we're going to meet with some of you to see what the full results are so we can make an action plan. And then, so a survey about what SOC should be supporting you on in the community for the next couple of years. And then the next thing is, if you want a little more involvement, again, this is not a big commitment. You would sign up for our 30+2 with you campaign. And here's a little introduction which says, hey, would you like to join us by being an ambassador for your blog? What does that mean? All it means is that you're going to share some information and resources and opportunities with the neighbors on your block, as easy as leaving a flyer at their door. And then if you're a lead ambassador, you'd meet with us monthly, virtually, or in person. And quarterly, we'll have a summit where we, work on some things and celebrate. But it depends on what level leadership. But you can start at just being an ambassador, and then if you're an ambassador, there's all kinds of free and reduced benefits you get. Free training in our Leadership Institute, and admission to other programs and events that we have, and we'll gear you all up with our new sock gear that we're planning to order. So that's an easy thing too. All you need to do is leave, basic information. Are you an adult or a youth? Because we want one adult and one youth for every block on the South Side. Super easy, as you can see, like 4 things you have to answer. And then remember, if you do that, you get entered into a drawing for $50. And then last, again, it's just your contact information. And then, was this information helpful to you? What was most useful? What is something we could change? And any other comments? I mean, that could be as simple as a 2-minute survey. So please do that. And then the real easy lifts are, hey, like us on Facebook. So let's see if I can find our Facebook page. Ta-da! SOC MKE. If you can just like our Facebook, you can go and look for us on Instagram. You can go and look for us on LinkedIn. And every time you do that, you're going to be entered into that drawing for those $40 gift cards. And then I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And then lastly, all you have to do is take a picture of yourself and tag us. So good stuff, folks. You don't want to miss that. Let me see if anybody else is with us before I bring our guest on. Say hello, folks, so we know that you're with us, and share this Facebook Live. All right. We're glad to have one of our state representatives with us, State Representative Silvia Ortiz from the District 8. Buenos dias. Let's bring Silvia on. Buenos dias, Silvia.
Buenos dias.
Actually, tarde ahora.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yep.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm very excited. Today's such a monumental day because it's going to decide. So there's so many important things on the ballot today. I can't understate the importance of voting today, because today's the last day for you to have your voice heard.
Go ahead and share why it's so important to you personally, and why it's so important to us Wisconsinites. And then if you have some project you want to lift up or an effort on the state level, please do that as well.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you for inviting me on and giving me this opportunity. So the main, really, really important, there's a lot of important races on the ballot today. But the main really important race is first the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, which is it's a 10-year term, which could decide the balance of an entire branch of government, basically, in our state, to be able to have, things heard in the third branch. So that's exciting. There's a lot at stake there, so much at stake. In particular, the gerrymandered maps that were put in place and re-cemented into our state are at stake. Having fair maps that represent the will of the people of our state. Quite frankly, the Republicans couldn't draft a better map if they wanted to. It's it's the most gerrymandered map in our state. That's one of the things that are on the line, but that's not the only thing. There's also a lawsuit by our governor and Josh Call and some other members of the state concerning the abortion, the 1864 or 18. I forget what year. It's more than about 175 years old. Ban on abortion after Roe v. Wade went up to state, which doesn't even allow for abortion for rape or incest. So that's something that's very important to a lot of people. After speaking to people in the 1849 law, it's 1849. The other thing that's really important that's on the ballot, we have a special election in District 14, Milwaukee County, where that would also be my county supervisor. So it is important to me. And the county is an arm of the state. So having someone that I can work with directly at the county level that deals with, some of the services from the state and getting that to the people would be, we need strong leadership. We need strong leadership at the county. So I'm excited to see is the primary. So I just want people to know that means in May there will be a general election. So it's not the only time 3 candidates, and so it'll be whittled down to 2 people. The other thing that's on the ballot is municipal court judge. Mr. Mosley, Judge Mosley, he has stepped down, and so that's also on the ballot. And there also are 4 questions on the ballot that I want to mention just briefly. In Milwaukee County, there's a question on the 1849 abortion ban, whether it should be, abolished, the ban from 1849. And then also there's 2 questions in here, and they have to do with letting courts, our judges, like currently under our bail system, judges are not allowed to use bail for, they're not allowed to look at past criminal prior convictions when they're looking at violent crime. And this bill will allow judges to be able to look at a person's prior convictions when setting bail for violent crime to prevent serious harm to our communities. And people will have the right to vote yes or no on those as well. And also, it also will require judges to actually put on the record why they are putting bail given. And I know a lot of it has to do with a lot of cases. The one that's most well known is Darrell Brooks, where we had someone with violent crimes that was released on a very low bail that went on to commit other violent crime. And there's a lot of cases like that. So I know some of that is why that was kind of brought forward. Because I sit on the committee, I sit on the Judiciary Committee where this item is heard. So I've read the bill. I've been talking and thinking and talking to the people in our community for more than 2 years on it. So I'm very well versed on what the question actually means.
Great.
And then just wanted to lift up a couple things that are going on at the state I'm excited about. Just recently, there was a bill that passed the House. It's now on its way to the Senate. And it's AB 51, which would allow DACA recipients to be police officers or fire or sheriff in our state. So currently, they are allowed to be game wardens under DNR. They're allowed to be correction officers. And when I mean they, I mean DACA recipients. And they also are allowed to be state patrol and firefighters in the city of Milwaukee. So this bill would allow them to be police officers for people who want the opportunity to serve their communities in that capacity. So that I think is a great thing. And I'm very supportive. That also could have helped with the death of the farm that happened in that investigation. To be able to have officers that can, speak the language, and we know are fluent when they're dealing with populations. And we know that those language barriers exist all across our state. So it's not just Milwaukee, it's all across our state. So the other 2 things I wanted to mention, the governor just signed his very first bill. And it was there 2 of them, they were bipartisan bills. And it hasn't been, surprisingly, for over 50 years since we've had changes made to our reckless driving bills, our reckless driving statutes in our state. So, and I know there's 2 of them that the governor just signed. One would allow local police officers to impound a vehicle that has prior unpaid reckless driving offenses. So it's a very narrow scope. But again, our mayor actually came to committee, supported this resolution. Our governor was happy to sign it. So I was happy to see that, a lot of concerns of people starting. I say starting because I hope and I know we will see more things, and actually more comprehensive. I'm hoping for more comprehensive things. Um, you know, coming out of Madison when it comes to reckless driving, and I think there's a real bipartisan space.
Lots of important information our state rep shared today. We're grateful for your time with us. Um, be safe and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Adios. All right, folks. As you can see, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty with some of our guests. It depends where they're at because the storm is moving in. But we're going to move right into our next guest. The City of Milwaukee Election Commission is with us today. And Jonathan Zuniga is representing them. So we're going to bring Jonathan on.
Hi,
Hola,
everyone.
Jonathan.
Good, happy election day to everyone.
Igual. Jonathan, we want to accomplish two things in these visits with our guests. One is to provide inspiration and encouragement for our voters to come out. And two is to lift up maybe a piece of information we haven't quite covered in depth. I'm wondering if you could share about, your encouragement, but share about election rights today, what people should be mindful of to know that they have the rights to do today, and where they could report if something is going wrong or they need help. So why don't you share those two things with us today? And then if there's something else you think critical that we haven't covered, we can quickly do that.
Yeah, I think it's so important to vote, especially if you live on the South Side, right? I'm, born and raised on the South Side, and unfortunately, it has one of the lowest voting turnout in the whole city. And I don't say that to discourage us, but more to motivate us, right? Like the possibilities of us being able to vote. A lot of times we speak to folks, and they're like, "Well, I can't vote. I'm not eligible," but your kids are, right? Your family members, your friends, your neighbors, and it's super important to get out the vote, get them out to vote, because as you all have been mentioning, there's a lot of things, a lot of local offices that have a direct impact in people's lives, in our communities, in our city, in our state. So we shouldn't let anyone else make a decision for us. We should be able to exercise our right to vote, because that is our right. And speaking about being exercise your right to vote, as the election commission, that is our goal, that on election day, every eligible voter is able to exercise their right to vote within the law, of course. So if you are at the polls, if you're heading to the polls first, make sure you're going to the correct one. Depending on where you live, you have your designated polling place. So you can go to myvote.wi.gov and look for your polling site. That website is also in Spanish, so you can also search it that way. So look for your polling place, go to your designated polling place, and if you are already registered, then perfect. You just need to take your photo ID. Something really important about photo ID too is that you are already registered, so that address on the ID doesn't have to match the poll book. What happens a lot nowadays is that people update their address with the DMV online, and then they go to My Vote and update their voter registration on there. Perfectly fine. Then they go to the polling site, and then they are in the poll book with their correct new address, but their ID has their old address. That's okay. The poll workers should accept that. And we have stressed that out to all of our poll workers to make sure that they are accepting that. So if you have any questions about this, or if you have any issues, call us at 414-286-3491. Again, 414-286-3491. We have folks in English and Spanish. They can help you out, and we have a language line to more than 100 languages if any folks want in a different language other than English or Spanish. So call us if you have any issues at the polls. We're expecting, thunderstorms maybe later today. So if you can, go and get out your vote right now instead of waiting until the end. But do know that if you are in line by 8 p.m., then you are able to vote. All right. It doesn't matter if there's a line and whatever. If you're there by 8 p.m., that is your right to cast your ballot. Another important reminder. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. Another important reminder is that you can register to vote today. It's not too late. Today you can do it and vote today at your designated polling place, right? People move, you change your name, you get married, whatever the reason is to change your name or you moved from address, you can register to vote today and vote today. Okay, so Wisconsin has that right to all of the eligible voters. So just again, make sure you go to your designated polling place to do all of that and get help with that. And if you are registering, then take something that's a proof of residence, which if you have your ID or driver's license with your current address, that counts. A We Energies bill, a cell phone bill, a bank statement. Even if you have it on your phone, that proof of residence, that counts as well. So if you forgot it and you're at the polls, you can just bring out your phone up. You have your bank statement there or your lease, right? A signed lease in your email or something. That also counts.
That was really helpful and something that helps clarify for people how much easier it is to do things at the polling place. Jonathan, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it and the information you shared, and have a great rest of your day.
You're welcome. Have a great one, everyone.
Adios. All right, we're going to share with you some of the former guests we had on today. So we'll start with our county executive, David Crowley.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited, hoping we're going to have a great turnout for this election. And gracias, because I think this is your first visit.
This is. I appreciate it.
Glad. And we were just together because you invited a group of us women for Women's History Month to have a chat with you at Alverno. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity as well.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, but everyone who joined us during that coffee time to really have conversations about how we can move this community forward, particularly around entrepreneurship. It was really vibrant, and you definitely gave me some things to walk away with and do.
Yeah, we'll dig in on those things. All right, so we're hoping you could join us to just share your heart with folks, to maybe the people who have lost a little hope or who are feeling stressed and pressed for time, that you give them some encouragement and inspiration to vote today.
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, I was born and raised here in Milwaukee. So I'm a lifelong Milwaukeean, and I'm proud of where I come from. And I'm proud that I've been on this path to actually make some change in this community, because we need to make sure this is a better place for everyone. And when you think about today, this is a very special day because it is election day. And so if you care about your community, if you care about how government serves you, if you care about your family and your loved ones, and if you care about the greater future of your community, today you have to make sure that your voice is heard. And so every day that we think about election day, we have to make sure that you let your voice count. And so it's extremely important that you make a plan, that you go out and vote today. We got elections that are statewide. We have elections that are happening here locally. Many elections that can make a great impact on all of our lives throughout the entire state. So it's extremely important that you take the time to cast your vote and make sure that your voice is heard. And I just have to say, Tammy, thank you not only to you, but to the Southside Organizing Center for all the work that y'all all consistently do in organizing our communities, but more importantly, making sure that folks understand how you can utilize their voices to make change in our own community.
Great. We thank you for that. Folks are needing encouragement, but also they want to be rewarded for participating in our democracy. Is there anything else you want to share with people from the county level before we let you get the rest of your day going?
Well, absolutely. Again, I want to make sure everybody gets out to vote, but I do want to, encourage people to visit our website, moveforwardmke.com. We at Milwaukee County and the city of Milwaukee, we have been embarking on an endeavor to increase the amount of resources so we can better serve the entire community, like the folks who are watching us right now on live. And so it's extremely important that people understand what we're trying to do, because if we want to make sure our county buses are here, that our county parks are still here, that our senior services, our youth services, and services for people with disabilities, we need to make sure that we have the revenues and the tools necessary. So I want to encourage everyone to visit moveforwardmke.com. And I also want folks to stay tuned for a lot of the summer events that's going to be taking place. Last year, we had our inaugural Healthy County Challenge, and I'm looking forward to bringing it to a park near you in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned.
All right. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate.
We're also going to have with you now the president of the Common Council and alderperson, Jose Perez.
Buenos dias. Good morning.
Buenos dias. We're so glad you're with us today.
I am too. It's a great start to the day. Excited about everyone getting out the vote today. We know how important it is. Elections matter. Voting matters. I want to thank you for not only the opportunity to be here, but for hosting this Get Out the Vote, this call of action that people can tune into and hopefully get questions answered and get motivated, not only to go out and vote today, but to go talk to someone else and get them to the polls today. So we're super excited about today. We know there's a lot riding in our community, and I'm excited because every election, I think more and more people turn out on the near South Side. We know how important Latinos have been to the city, to the population. We're the fastest growing demographic. And, we wish more people would turn out, and we're hoping that every election we get better at it and we turn more people out.
We agree, especially because Sox district is 70% Latino IX. And we have the largest amount of non-English speaking people in the state in this area, which is primarily Spanish. What do you have to share with us that you want folks to hear about at the Common Council level, at the city level?
Well, we're very close in working with the state. We've been spending a lot of time with them to increase opportunities for funding. We can't raise taxes. We can't increase our revenue. It's been flat for so many years, and we think that we're on the right path. And talking and communicating with them, and I know that they're going to provide alternative resources and revenues for us so that we can make sure that we can deal with public safety and that we can really compensate our employees so that we can retain and keep them, because we have such a shortage of people working at the city. So other municipalities are paying better. It's a very competitive market, and we want our services to be up to par for the community, and it's hard to compete with that. So we're excited that moving forward in this spring, we can get to that place where we can give more to the community. It's not a perfect system, and we need everyone to pitch in and help us.
Great. We have a message here. Let's see. Claudia says, I love your art, Alderman Perez. That's on your wall.
That's actually from 1970.
Is it really?
Yeah. So.
Wow. All right. We thank you for squeezing us in. We know it's a very, very tight day. And have a safe and good rest of your day.
I just want to say thank you again, and hopefully I'll see some of you out. I take the day to kind of go from polling site to polling site, just check in, making sure people get the resources they need, whether it's translation, interpretation, just answering questions in Spanish and English, and making sure that people are feeling comfortable going to the voting polls. So I'll spend most of my day jumping around and hope to see you there. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Have a good. Thank you, President of Common Council, Jose Perez. We're going to share an interview earlier, a chat that we had with Eloisa Gomez, who is the co-founder and the chairperson of the League of Women Voters, Voto-Latino.
Buenos dias, Tammy. Good to see you again.
Buenos dias, and it's good to see you again. I saw on Facebook that you all were doing doors for voting, your team. So we thank you for your commitment to that very important work in the community.
And feliz 33, su aniversario de la organización. That's great news. I didn't know it was 33 years. So congratulations, and thanks for your leadership too.
Of course, we're very excited. We're very proud that we're the longest standing grassroots organizing institution on the South Side. And we want to continue. We're very much needed more than ever. And we're glad that you partner with us. Eloisa, today we want to do two things with each guest. One is have you share inspiration and encouragement to vote, but then also tackle one aspect of voting that might give people information that will motivate them to vote. And I remember you invited us to report out on the Latino vote, and there was some really powerful information. So that's what I'm hoping we accomplish right now is some encouragement and then some power, right?
Well, absolutely. Latinos in the city of Milwaukee represent 20% of the population. Now that's big. That's important. 20% de nuestra comunidad Latino it represents Milwaukee. But we have to make sure that we use that el poder of our numbers to get out and vote. And right now we're expecting about 30 to 35% of people getting out to vote. Now wouldn't you agree that's a low number?
Yeah.
For such an important, the Supreme Court position, and other positions that we have before us, school board and county supervisor and alderpersons, so all that is very important. So we need to use our voice of that 20% of the city's population to get out and vote. And will that happen? I think we just need to help support each other to do it. And this is what SAC is doing. La Liga de las Mujeres Votantes believes that this is very important. We need to continue to reach out to one another to encourage each other to get out and vote. Later today, we're expecting storms and rough weather, but maybe we voted early. There are resources. So the important message is our population is growing. We need to use that growth to channel towards our democracy. And a key part of that is getting out to vote, voting early by absentee balloting, or the 2 weeks before each election. Yeah. We have the opportunity to go out and vote at one of the libraries or another location. So I really encourage everyone, to make sure that we get out to vote today if we haven't voted yet.
Great. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we let you get to the rest of your day?
Well, there's two things just to quickly mention, because I know you've got a full agenda today, and that is, if you have not, if you need more information on the candidates, and that's really one big reason why people don't vote. I don't know who the candidates are. I need nonpartisan, neutral information. Vote411.org we are nonpartisan. That means we do not support any political party whatsoever. We are not going to tell you who to vote for. But we want to tell you what the issues are. We want to let you know who the candidates are and what the issues are, like on the referendum. So please visit vote411.org. It's in Spanish as well. So, do not worry about it. If you are primarily Spanish speaking, no problema.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for being with us, being a faithful partner on our Near Southside Civic Coalition, and have a great rest of your day.
Okay, best wishes, everyone. Get out and vote.
So grateful for our partnership with the League of Women Voters, and Luisa Gomez, who's been a longtime leader in our community. We're going to hear from one of her associates, Peggy Creer, who's the president of the League of Women Voters for Milwaukee County. Buenos dias, Peggy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us again. You guys have been incredible partners. I really appreciate it.
And we appreciate the work you do as well.
Yeah, there's enough work for all of us to do, and it's necessary for us to do it in a united way. Eloisa says, thanks to all today's speakers. Hola, Eloisa. She was with us earlier. Happy that you were with us and happy that you're back with us. Peggy, we want to accomplish two things today. We want to get people motivated, those people who maybe have lost a little hope or are totally stressed for time, or don't understand voting, to really get out on this critical election. And then we want to thank you, Anita, for getting me water. I appreciate it. And then any other message you think people really need to hear today. So share your thoughts, share your heart with the folks.
Okay, thank you. I have lots of thoughts on this. For anybody who thinks this election isn't important, you should take a look at some national media headlines over the past week or so. I see one from National Public Radio. In a Supreme Court race like no other, Wisconsin's political future is up for grabs. I think that's pretty motivating. I see another one, a key fight over democracy is currently taking place in Wisconsin. There is so much at stake here. I mean, with our Supreme Court race is huge. This is a 10-year seat with no term limits. And the Supreme Court is going to be hearing some very important cases. They're likely to hear cases about abortion rights. You certainly hear a lot about that. Voting and election laws will come before the Supreme Court, very likely. We are a very gerrymandered state. Our maps are quite skewed, and those will likely come before the Supreme Court. Judicial recusal rules, things like marijuana legalization could come before this court, education policy, labor laws, a lot of very important issues. And the ideological balance of the court is what's in play with this election, and that's why it's getting so much national attention. This is the most expensive state Supreme Court race in our nation's history. I haven't heard the latest total, but I know it's over $40 million has been spent. So for people out there who are wondering if their vote matters, think of all the money that is being spent with the goal of swaying your one vote. That's the whole point of the ads. But let me say, I wouldn't pay very much attention to the content of the ads. It's not illegal to lie in those. So you need to do a little bit of research. I know you have to be in a hurry if you have not made up your mind now, but the difference between candidates is stark. So talk to friends who follow politics. Look at organizations you trust. See what they're saying about this race. Go to vote411.org and do a little research. Doesn't take long. And with the weather we're expecting today, the sooner you head out, the better, probably.
Correct. That's all critical information. And, the Supreme Court race, people really need to take heart of, we're going to be locked in for a whole decade. That it's probably one of the highest stake races we've seen in a while. So thank you for sharing that information. Is there anything else you want to bring to people's attention today, Peggy, before we have you go on to the rest of your day?
And the rest of my day, by the way, is heading over near you. I'll be at a polling place on the south side starting at 1:30. There's one thing that I noticed when I talk to people about voting, something they find surprising. We had a primary election in February, and that determined which candidates went on to this election today. And the turnout for that primary election was 20.5% of the voting age population in Wisconsin. And that was considered kind of high. That's not very good. 4 out of 5 potential voters stayed home. Today, we could break a record and still have more than half of the people who could vote not vote. So I'm pleading with people to please engage your friends and relatives and neighbors and encourage them to get to the polls with you today. If you're in line at 8 o'clock, when the polls close, you can still vote. So you've got time.
Thank you, Peggy. We appreciate your partnership and you being with us today. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tammy.
Just great information all day being shared with you. We're so grateful for that. I'm going to take a look and see who's with us so we can say some hellos. Johnny Munoz. Hola, Johnny. He says, I just saw SAC live and I believe it is important to people to explain the questions in the ballot. If you do, or if you do already. Yes, Johnny, we have a segment on myvote.wisconsin.gov where we'll be covering that. Also, shout out to Johnny. His company was the first company to do our forums and do an introduction for us on how to do them and eventually, excuse me, to get us to the point that we are today. So he started this journey with us. Very grateful to him for that. All right. Excuse me. We're going to go ahead and share a couple of more inspiring videos to rah-rah us all to vote, starting with Ivana from League of Women Voters.
Hi, my name is Ivana Guerrero Garcia. I am a bilingual youth educator here on the south side of Milwaukee. And the importance of voting, well, I started voting when I was 18 when I was first eligible to start voting. Voted in it was actually one of our state elections. So it was during the springtime. I remember went by myself and I went out and I called my parents and I was like, I voted. And they're like, what? Like they hadn't voted yet, but I voted. So they were like very happy that I was exercising that right of mine to vote. And ever since then, they've actually reminded themselves to vote. So it was kind of just like a reminder, like a little like, oh, wake up call, like my kid is voting now. I should continue to be able to practice that. But why I think voting is important, and even voting early too, is that voting brings people together. It unites people to, come together on shared values and opinions, and really just emphasizing expressing their voice, as well as, being able to and continue that for the next generation to really empower that we can create the change that we really want, as long as we're able just to speak on it. So that's why I think voting is important.
We want to share, as you can see, we're giving you an intergenerational rah-rah here, covering all the generations. And we're going to bring Brandy on next from the Latino Chamber of Commerce.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandy Hernandez and I am the engagement manager at the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Southeastern Wisconsin. Just wanted to hop on super quick and one, happy election day. Two, wanted to encourage you all to get out and vote. Voting is one of many ways that you can make your voice heard here in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin and all across the country. But yeah, on behalf of the Latino Chamber of Commerce, we just wanted to encourage you all to get out and vote, make your voice heard. If you have any questions on where your polling place is, you can always visit myvote.wi.gov, and that shows directly where you go and vote and what you need to take. Yeah, happy election day.
Gracias, Brandy. You did a smashing job. Let me give a shout out to our near South Side Civic Coalition members. SOC founded and leads a group of organizations who really care about you, care about democracy, and want to make sure that you have the support that you need to vote. And so let's do those shout outs. You heard Brandy, and she's from the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Southeastern Wisconsin. They've been great strategic partners of SOCs for a long time. And then, of course, we had a parade of folks from our partners at the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin, Milwaukee County, the Voto Latino. Milwaukee LGBT Community Center is a partner. We appreciate their partnership. Milwaukee Turners, Voces de la Frontera, and Vote Writers. So happy to be working alongside you in our community when it comes to civic engagement and democracy. What we're going to do now is I'm going to ask our production team, and our youth organizer, Alexis, is trying her hand at production and doing a great job. So proud of her, so excited. She's been shadowing and being trained, and now she's digging in. What I'd like you to do now is share chairperson of the county supervisor, Marcelia Nicholson's video, and then I'm going to go to the candidates forum that we had for District 14 election.
Hi, I'm County Board Chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson. And as the first Afro-Latina to lead the county board, I know firsthand just how important the job of a county supervisor is to Latino and Hispanic communities. Supervisors are responsible for adopting a $1.2 billion budget every year, and we set policy for quality of life services such as parks and transit. This is why I appreciate the Southside Organizing Center for hosting a forum for residents to get to know the candidates seeking to represent the 14th Supervisory District. This district is in the heart of Milwaukee Southside and includes landmarks like the Kazi Community Center and Basilica of St. Josephat. It is so important that the residents of District 14 make their voices heard in this important election.
Thank you, Chairwoman Nicholson. Great job supporting us and supporting the folks to vote. Let me talk to you a little more about that County Supervisor District 14 vacancy, so that you understand what's happening and you have all the resources you need to make a decision in case you didn't get to previously vet the candidates. SOC has a long history of hosting candidate forums for our local community, usually the city and the county level. We usually collaborate on state or larger races, but in terms of leading the forums, we do the local ones. And so we held with the Near Southside Civic Coalition a candidates forum for District 14. What you need to know about that is the former elected person, Django Zerpa, stepped down, leaving a vacancy. And so County Executive Crowley, who was with us earlier today, called for a special election. So what's happening right now in this spring election is that folks from District 14 are going to decide which two candidates of the three that are currently in that race are going to go forward. And then you all who live in District 14 are going to decide between the two candidates who go forward. On Tuesday, May 2nd, you're going to vote for which one of those you want to represent you. And here's tons of resources to help you make that decision today and also for May 2nd. I'm going to share a couple of things again, just so you don't have to see my face all day and you get to see some of the resources that are available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try, starting with where you can find the candidates forum. Let's see here. Whoops, I got a couple of pages open, so I got to find that. All right. So if you go here, and we're going to put this link in the comments, so don't worry, I'm doing my best to talk slow because usually I talk fast and loud. So you can all catch up with me, and so our interpreter can keep up with me. She's doing, Isabel is doing simultaneous interpretation on the phone line. But if you go to the link we're providing you to our Facebook Live, this is what you're going to see. And what you have here is the live forum that we did for the District 14 candidates forums. Let me see if I can move it up a little, and then you'll see, like, there's one of our candidates, there's another, and there's another. And so what you want to do is go here, and we submitted the questions that neighbors from District 14 gave us to the candidates, and they answered them. So if you want to get to know them a little bit, you'll come here. The other thing that we have to offer you today is the organizations in the coalition I was talking about submitted questions for the candidates, and they answered those questions. So we have questions, for instance, from the Latino Chamber of Commerce, and then candidates answered it. And then we have questions from the other partners, like the League of Women Voters, the Milwaukee LGBT community, etc. So there are specific questions, and the candidates who submitted answers are provided there, and you can get that in English or Spanish. We're going to put the link to this in the comments, and you'll be able to view that as well. It's on our Facebook Live. And then the thing that gets tricky about this District 14 race is because of the census results, some districts had to be recreated to meet certain criteria, like the number of people in there who and what type of group they are to be represented in like justifiable ways. And as you heard earlier, there's all kinds of redistricting and gerrymandering and concerns and fights and opinions about that. But this is where we're at, folks. So this is District 14, like it or not. And this is the district we're talking about, that today is the primary, the special election, taking 3 candidates down to 2. And we can't describe all of these boundaries because, as you can see, it's not a clear box or rectangle. But on the furthest north boundary, what you can see is it's Virginia here, then it goes into Pierce, then it goes into National. So all the way north. And then if you go east, you're on pretty much 1st Street and 20th Street, and then it dips into 16th Street. And then on the furthest south boundary, what we have as Howard. We're going to put that link so you can see if you fall within those boundaries. And then last but not least, if you don't know a lot about what the county supervisor does, we're going to add that link so you can go here, find it, and find out what they do. Also, if you go to our Facebook page, you'll see the poster we made, which summarized also what the candidates' responsibilities are. The other thing we want to do is, if you haven't made up your decision about who to elect for Supreme Court, we have a link to the debate that was hosted by the Wisconsin State Bar of Wisconsin, WISC TV, and WIS Politics, where you can see the candidates, debate and get to know them better. So really trying to support your ability to make a decision and to vote. Again, if that was too fast for you, don't worry about it. All that information is in the comments, and you can get that in this production, but in any of the ones that we're doing today. What I'd like to do now is show you how to work with myvote.wisconsin.gov, where is like the centralized website that you can go for all of your voting needs, and it's 24 hours a day, so you get to have that at your fingertips. So let me walk you through that so that you can feel really comfortable using that, or at least familiarize yourself. So here it is, myvote.wisconsin.gov. This is the English version, but you can get it in other languages too. Here you can find your voter information. It'll tell you every election you voted in. It doesn't tell you what you voted, which candidates, or what you said on the referendums, but at least you can be reminded of which elections you voted in. You can find your polling place, which we're going to practice in a little bit, and what's on your ballot. Again, to Johnny's question, we're going to go ahead and take a look there. You can update your name and address. You can register to vote and get information about that. For the fall election, because now the time has passed us, but you can request to vote by absentee ballot. Just mail it in. Can't get any easier than that, folks. And I've used it in the past. It's really helpful. And then you can track where your ballot is to make sure that they received it. And then how you can vote absentee in person. Here are some icons with many of those same choices. A couple of other pieces of information that might be helpful to you. A little more information about absentee voting. And then if you want to do to work at the polls, the voting locations, you can do that. That's where one of our team members are. Wilma Ortiz is doing that today. Took off the day to help with democracy. You can get the latest election results or former election results. And you can see what all the deadlines are for elections. And if you're curious about what the count process is, here's some transparency for you to get to know what happens when we vote. And then, of course, if you're in the military, there's some information for you as well on how to vote. So let's go practice finding my voting poll. We're going to use SOC's address. So you click on Find My Polling Place, and we're going to put in SOC's address, 1300 South Layton Boulevard. Now, folks, we're not yet open to the public from the pandemic. We will hope to do that soon. But you can reach us in all the ways that you have in the past, except for in the office. So you can call us at 414-672-8090. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org. On any of our social media platforms. And of course, most of the time we spend in the community with you, and that's a great opportunity to dig in. So here we go. I put in SOC's address, and if I lived here, this is where I'd go. I'd go to Durfler School. So some of the election sites are at a park, some of them are at a school, some of them are at a different type of building. But If I lived at Sauk, I'd go to Durfler School, and as you can see, there's the address of the school, polling times, which was today from 7 to 8 p.m. I went right this morning at 7 o'clock, and I was the first one in my ward, which happens to be the same location here, 2:15, and then they even show us a map. The other thing we want you to practice is what's on my ballot. So now I know where to go. What's my ballot going to look like? Because that could be intimidating or surprising, or you might not expect it. And sometimes you want to reflect on those things. But here we go. We have the same address. And if I lived here and that was my voting place, here we go. What's on the ballot for today? We talked about this. Peggy did a great job of introducing the Supreme Court work. So here you go. Here are your options for Justice of the Supreme Court. And again, we'll remind you, our choice today is going to at least be there a decade. So it's a very important decision. We have tons of judges, so I'm going to try to summarize. We have a Court of Appeals for District 1. And then we have tons of circuit court judges for branch 4, 9, 10, 13, 18, 21, 23, 35, 47. So tons of judges are being elected or reelected today. And then we have 2 municipal judges being elected. Whoever's going to take our beloved Derek Mosley's place, and then branch 3 as well. And we have a member at large of our MPS school district board member. So that's an important race too, when we think of how critical education is to our kids and to our future. Now, this is what Johnny was talking about, and some of our former, guests, like State Representative Ortiz Velez talked about. I'm going to take a little time, just in case some of you do better hearing information than reading or seeing it, just to make sure it kind of lands a little bit. So we have a couple of referendums. This first one is dealing with what conditions of release can the judge use, the courts use, before someone is actually convicted of a crime. So very, very like testing of your philosophies and moral compass here and constitutional rights. And so this one talks about an amendment to a constitution. Remember, like the Constitution is our core, spinal cord of our democracy. So we have to take questions about amending them very seriously. So this one is, do we want to adapt the Constitution, amend the Constitution to allow the court to impose someone who's been accused of a crime conditions from the court? And so read that carefully, think about it, answer it. The next one is related, which is to, again, amend the Constitution to allow the court to impose cash bail on a person accused of a violent crime. And that would be several things they're posing is packed in this question, which is allowing someone's background, the total circumstances to be allowed in court, prior convictions of violent crimes, their guess on whether this person's going to show up for court, and whether this, in their estimation, this poses a threat to the community and or to any witnesses. And so another important question. And then 2 other non-court related issues is, shall able-bodied people who don't have children have to look for work in order to receive taxpayer-funded welfare benefits? And then last, which I'm sure all of us have heard about it on the referendum, is the issue of abortion rights. And as State Representative shared with us, Statute 940.04 bans abortion at any stage of pregnancy without exception, for rape, incest, health of the patient to be repealed to allow legal access to abortion care. So read the questions because it could be confusing if you're voting for or against, right? So again, it to repeal this law that bans abortion without exception to all of those things I mentioned earlier. So really easy to use, tons of information at your fingertips, and we really want you to take advantage of that resource because it's available to you 24 hours a day, and not many other sources are. Let me take a quick peek. Who's with us? I see the number of people with us. Can you say hello if you're with us so we can give you a shout out? Do we have any of our coalition members with us? Any of our traditional super fans? I'd love to say hello, give you a shout out. All right, I want to remind you there's all kinds of ways to enter our 4 door prizes, which are going to be pulled tomorrow live on Facebook. So come like our Facebook and watch there to see if you won any of those door prizes. There's 4 of them for $50, so a total of $200 on the table for really simple things like liking our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, posting a voting picture by yourself or with people that you went with, and tagging SOC, filling out our surveys. So just like really easy lifts. None of those surveys are over 5 minutes long, and some of them are like two minutes to answer 3. And then of course you can share one of these live broadcasts and enter to get the door prizes. All of this information, again, because it's tons of information, are in our comments, so you don't have to worry. Did you catch it? Did you get the link? They're all in our comments. All right, let's take a look. Make sure, team, that I didn't miss anything. And I think we're good to go. Did we miss any videos? Gonna look in the private chat. I don't think so. Jonathan is sharing how to contact him. Stacy saying we're good to go. Listen, folks, you don't want to miss our 2 o'clock. I'm going to tell you why. Our youth team is taking over. So those of you who've heard me all day, it's probably sounding like Charlie Brown's mom, waka, 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 waka. You'll get a break, and we'll all get to celebrate and enjoy our youth segment, which is up at 2 o'clock. We'll see you in a little bit.